Hey everybody, it's Seth and Paul for the Everything Money channel. Thanks for joining us. Today, Paul talks about one of the stocks that he loves, no pun intended, Southwest Airlines. The airlines are coming back a bit, Paul. Tell us about this stock and why you love it.
Why was that a pun, by the way?
What?
You said pun, no pun intended, but people don't understand why it's
I
a pun.
said love. Well, because the stock ticker, which you just told me, is LUV, and that's really cute.
So Southwest Airlines, the story behind this is, if you remember...
Before you start, please make sure you smash that like button below.
Why are we doing the like buttons?
We're taking a moment of likeness so that Paul can pay me and Don more money.
And that is true.
Thank you, Paul.
No problem. I also have to pay myself back for all the big investment I've made in this thing.
That's true.
But a lot of the money will go to Don and Seth. So keep looking pretty. So Warren Buffett in the middle of March came out. Was it middle of March? Something like that. And he said, I was wrong on airlines. I've sold all my airlines. I was wrong. The second he did that, what did I do?
Why?
I started looking at airlines.
Go on.
I thought to myself, what's going to happen when Warren Buffett, the best investor of all time, sells airlines? People are going to frantically sell and want to get out. And as I've said in other podcasts, I want to find great companies at good prices. And I thought to myself, there are great airlines out there. The airline industry is a very difficult industry. A lot of union costs, actually it's not a lot of fixed overhead, but there's an expensive airline. It's highly competitive. Everyone wants to start an airline. It becomes very difficult to make money. How many bankruptcies have occurred in the airline industry? It's almost as bad as, probably is as bad as the car industry at some point. So I sat there and said, okay, let me go start doing some analysis on what the best airlines are. Fast forward, Southwest ended up being the best one for me, and here's why. In the quarter of this year, in which the economy was faltering, Southwest Airlines only lost $94 million.
That number doesn't mean much to me, Paul.
Now, here's why.
Go on.
Delta, American Airlines, United, they each lost, maybe Delta only lost $500 million.
Oh.
But United and American lost over $1.5 billion each. One of them was $2.5 billion, one was $1.5 billion. The bottom line is so much more than Southwest. The other thing about Southwest is everyone I know who flies Southwest loves flying Southwest. It's almost
true.
a cult following.
Yes, it is. Fandom.
Right. I look at that and say, hey, this isn't one of those situations where people just hate it, but it's still selling a good price. This is a great company selling a great price. So I dove deeper. I actually pull out the 10K. What's a 10K? It's their big document they file with the SEC every year. And I wanted to see what they explained about 2019. I found a lot of interesting information.
Tell me about it.
One of the big things was, if you remember, they were one of the buyers of the 737 MAX from Boeing, the one that had the crashes and it was a problem and they had to shut them down, et cetera. So last year, I'm going to jump a little bit ahead. Last year, Southwest Airlines made...
20 billion bucks?
No, that's revenue, 21 billion. In profit, 2.3 billion. But the big thing was, they said in their 10K, they lost $800 million just because of 737 MAX problem before taxes. So after taxes, call it $500 million. This should have been every bit of almost $3 billion from that. And I thought to myself, holy cow. So we not only have a company here that's being beaten up, but last year, because of something not involving them, they lost $800 million more than they should have. That's an incredible, incredible opportunity for most people would sit there and say, oh, they made $2.3 billion. I sat there and said they should have made $3. Yeah! So that immediately was a very important aspect for me. Then I looked at their quarterly numbers, like I told you, and I loved their quarterly numbers. The fact that they only lost $94 million in their first quarter. A good friend of ours, a partner of Crossroads, Rahman, his wife works at Southwest.
Yep.
I texted Rahman and say, hey, ask April, how are the flights looking? And every single month, she said they were getting better and better and better. So I'm like, okay, might be on the rebound here. Let's figure this out. I flew Southwest last month. The flight was pretty full. I think we had 100 people and that was with them cutting the middle row out. They sat there and said, nobody's allowed in the middle seat. So I was sitting there saying, okay, there's some good things going here. So I wanted to buy a good company in a very, very hurt industry. And if you look at their pricing, I bought them at $25 a share. So right now they're at 38. Keep in mind, folks, you ready for this one? I was mad when they rebounded. I didn't want that. I started buying them at 25 a share, hoping it would go down and down and down. So my analysis, by looking at all the numbers and putting it in my handy dandy model, I thought with this bad economy And I assumed they would lose $2 billion the first year. I assumed they'd lose $1 billion the second year. I assumed they'd break even in year 3. And then I assumed it would take them another 5 years to get back to last year's profitability.
You're talking about after this huge drop from the COVID recession.
And that's why I sat there and wanted to buy them, because their first quarter they lost $94 million, and I assumed they're going to lose $2 billion in the whole year. So it would take 20 times more that first quarter for them to even hit my number, and I still had them worth over $30 a share. In a normal market, with a normal economy, I had them worth $60 plus a share, and they were selling for low 20s. So I started buying at 25. I thought to myself, okay, they're going to go lower because people are going to get scared. People are going to get worried about airlines. All these things are going to happen. The economy is going to be worse. And they just shot up from there. But keep in mind, folks, I'm still going to be a buyer of Southwest as more and more data comes out. Because even at $38, if they end up being normal by the end of this year, they're worth $60 a share, in my opinion. That is my opinion with my analysis. I'm not telling you what you should do. You should do your own analysis. But I looked at it saying, I'm buying a great long-term company with a good balance sheet, good cash flow, good brand, for 1/3 of what I perceive their price to be. My goal is to buy for the long run. This is a company I'd want to own for the long run for 5, 10, 15 years. That's why I bought Southwest. Because Warren Buffett was saying he got it all wrong. And I think the airline industry is going to have a lot of problems, but I think Southwest is going to be the one company that's going to survive. The other thing is, Southwest Airlines revenue, right here, $21 billion. Right? Let's look at Delta. What the? Delta, $45 billion in revenue.
Twice as much.
United, $42 billion in revenue.
Still twice. What does this mean, Paul?
American Airlines, $44 billion. So all these other airlines that do worse than them are twice their size. I think they're going to take market share away from these people. One of these airlines is going to go under. They're going to have problems. There's going to be market share. And I think where are people going to go? They're going to go to the smaller, more reliable airlines. And I think Southwest is that company. So I look at it going, is Southwest a $60 share right now in a normal market? Easily. Could it be a $100 company in 5 or 10 years? I do believe so. So if I'm buying it at $25 a share and buying it if it goes down and down and down, I feel like I'm going to be able to get 3 or 4 or 5 times my money on that company over the next 5 to 10 years. If you're able to triple your money over a 10-year period, you're talking about, how much is that? 15% return a year? Not even, maybe 12% return a year, 13%. That's above average return. So I'm trying to buy great companies at good prices. And I think Southwest is a great company, potentially at a great price.
Thank you for joining us on the Everything Money channel. Smash that like button and follow us along as Paul goes over many more stocks and we talk about tons of things, have guests. Follow along Seth and Paul on the Everything Money channel. Thanks, guys.